Dad, Dad, do you need an idea for a new cartoon show? Because I know what all the kids at school like is Sonic.
Is that the hedgehog or is that the plumber?
It's no, you're thinking of Mario. Sonic is the hedgehog, though you'd never guess it by looking at him. Look how fast he goes. Can you draw that? Can you draw him going that fast?
I don't know, son. What food does he like to eat?
Well, he collects rings in the games, but I don't think he eats those. Can we have chili dogs for lunch on an
I
unrelated note?
love it. Chili dogs, the hedgehog. It'll make billions.
Because every time I eat chili dogs, I like really have to fucking take a poop. I think that's why Sonic goes so fast. We can make that happen.
He eats chili dogs really fast.
Oh yeah, there's
And
no way he doesn't have like heartburn. Like
I'm amazed like he just doesn't vomit them all back up immediately.
at the speed he's going, he probably just has like Crohn's disease or something from all those chili dogs.
So just to get this out of the way before we venture into the many Sonic cartoons we have watched for this episode, does he eat the chili dogs because they are packed full of energy and they cause him to run faster?
That is never outright stated. It was never a thing in the games. I'll clarify that first.
I was going to say, I don't remember them having chili
No.
dogs in the games.
I think they decided he needed a Ninja Turtles pizza equivalent, and chili dogs seemed kind of hip and junk foody. It wouldn't surprise me if someone was like, yeah, they are packed with energy, and it's associated with like speed and steam power, I guess.
Is it like the most unhealthy thing possible? So that's why he can eat them so much and then convert them into speed?
Yeah, I
Because
guess
there's
it's
so
kind of
many
like how
calories.
The Flash is like always eating a ton of food. He needs something really calorically dense.
Yeah.
If Sonic was made today, maybe he'd eat like Chipotle burritos or something. I don't know.
Do they does this imply that chili dogs are no longer sold?
They're not nearly. You have to go to like I dare say, at least where I around where I actually, a chili dog is a Chicago style hot dog. So in the Midwest in Chicago, that's like the signature hot dog, I feel like. Whereas here you have to go to kind of a specialty place to find one. It's not necessarily not next to the cheeseburgers in any old place.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever eaten a chili dog.
Well, thanks for joining us for our Sonic episode, everybody. Yeah, no. So, in preparation for the upcoming Sonic movie sequel, we watched the first four of the many Sonic cartoons. Actually, that's not entirely true. So, to be clear, we watched The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 93, sometimes called Sonic SatAM, Sonic Underground, and Sonic X. So, this isn't every Sonic cartoon. There's the OVA we didn't get around to from the 90s. Sonic Boom is the newest CGI one. We decided these four would be a good start. I think what's kind of interesting about them is that they don't tie to any, they may adapt aspects of the games, all of them, but all of them are their own continuity, whereas most of those other cartoons at least try to directly adapt a certain game. So I thought this was a good lineup.
It's there. There's areas of overlap between all of them, and a lot of them is just so distinct. I've seen some of Sonic Boom, and I thought that looked really enjoyable. I've only seen like a couple of scenes from it.
Sonic Boom is really funny. It just kind of died in the water because the game it was directly promoting sucked. Yeah, that's the shameful thing.
The one sort of like really funny scene that I've seen from it is Dr. Robotnik trying to defeat Sonic, but it's actually like a decoy of Sonic that's really obviously fake.
What? Oh, if it isn't Sonic. What's with the smug grin? You got beef, Hedgehog? Then why don't you bring it to my grill? Yeah, that's what I thought. You don't want none of this, nuh-uh. Yeah, give me the cold shoulder, huh?
So, I mean, Sonic is a weird... I guess it's equally as weird as Super Mario, which we watched previously.
Completely. it kind of all comes back to the fact that when you're presenting pixels on a screen, you can kind of leave stuff to the imagination. Like when the makers of Mario or Sonic were clustering 8 pixels to make some kind of obstacle, it's like the kids will fill in what this is. It can be a robot, it can be a natural. Who cares? Not who cares. I say it's part of the artfulness of games that leaves so much to the imagination. But when you're making that a cartoon, you have to decide that Sonic lives in a geographic place just full of massive circular loop-de-loops.
Yeah, it's I think it's easier to adapt than Mario because you've got like the central conceit of Dr. Robotnik is turning Sonic's world into a machinery-fueled nightmare, and he has to stop him. And you can build lots of stuff around that, like the freedom fighters, and yeah, robots.
You're exactly right. That's true.
it's like it's simple, but it's very easy to expand into more stuff. Certainly more than I think you can with Mario.
Yeah.
I think this lends itself better to adaptations that seem to have become increasingly sort of epic and fantastical over time.
Right.
Not so much with the first one we watched.
No. They are very different cartoons. Like, I think I just had this case of like, oh my god, because like each one was so tonally different. The Sonic fan base has this whole reputation of being very volatile and a bit insane, to be blunt, that I'm sure you're familiar with. And it's widely accepted that that's the case because no one could settle on what Sonic was at a certain point. So people would get fiercely attached to, beg your pardon, the interpretation of Sonic they imprinted on and defend it tooth and claw and get so fiercely loyal. And that's why the notion of the completely bananas Sonic fan as we know them today exists is because of cartoons as disparate as these four, I think.
I mean, that is such a good point, because I was thinking as I was watching these, the one that you would be like, some of them aren't necessarily better than the other ones, but I feel like you would just gravitate towards the one that you are familiar with.
Completely. I only think like one of these is, they're all fine. I don't think any of these were. There's one, I think one of these cartoons I think is kind of bad. All four are okay. There's one I think is like pretty good that I would pursue further. I think if you just grew up on the internet in any degree in the past 20 years, you just have this very specific idea of what Sonic is and should be, and that'll cause some interesting reactions. Yeah.
Which one, out of interest, before we begin, did you grow up with?
So, Sonic X was the one being made when I was young, but there was also reruns of the original series. I did not find out about Underground or SatAM until like my internet years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember SatAM until, as you say, like internet years. I definitely watched a lot of Sonic Underground, and I definitely saw a fair bit of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog at the time.
I'll just say the one I outright disrespect is Sonic Underground a little bit.
Oh no. Oh, you and I will have words when we get to Sonic Underground. What did you think of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Okay, so this one, I see what they're going for. I didn't love it, but I kind of like that they acknowledge that this character's ability was to have basically reality bending speed, and they kind of use that to make a logistically backed Bugs Bunny character. And I think that's something that carries into Sonic to this day, that we might not have, like in the Sonic movie, the trickster Sonic who messes with an entire bar of bikers with his speed in a very Bugs Bunny fashion, if it wasn't for this version of Sonic kind of setting that precedent first and foremost. So I really like that characterization of Sonic. I think Robotnik is pretty funny in this. I'll always be partial to Mike Pollock, but for a very slapsticky Robotnik, I like him a lot. All of that aside, the show is kind of a lot.
It's certainly, I mean, it's utterly incomprehensible, is what I found, because there's so much going on, and I think that is its greatest strength and its greatest weakness, because there is at any one time, like there's about 50 million like bits of animation happening and different like visual gags. And I couldn't keep up with some scenes. There's one. What was the name of the monkey? Was he called Coconuts or something?
That's Coconuts.
Coconuts. He takes out a picture of Dr. Robotnik and he kisses the picture of Dr. Robotnik, and the expression on the picture of Dr. Robotnik changes like to a shocked face when he gets kissed. And I was like, that's a clever visual gag, but it's like 2 seconds and then we're on to something else.
Completely.
It was like the Bubsy pilot. That was what it kind of reminded me of, except it wasn't as loud and obnoxious, but there was just as much going on.
I familiar with the show for so long, I was not aware that Scratch and Grounder had like an origin in the pilot.
Yeah. Is Grounder Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants?
No, they do. I don't think they are. Now I kind of want to. There's a whole anecdote about how the voices of Scratch and Grounder originally wanted them to sound like Abbott and Costello, but they decided kids wouldn't really get it. No, Gary Chalk is Grounder.
Oh, Gary Chalk. Gary Chalk is Robotnik in Sonic Underground.
Yeah, it's funny. And they gave Gary Chalk a cameo in the Sonic movie too. He's one of the army dudes.
Oh yeah, he's the general in that meeting, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good old Gary Chalk.
Yeah, good times.
He's great whenever he shows up, Gary Chalk.
Yeah.
I think he's one of our regulars.
This Robotnik is Long John Baldry, who I'm seeing just now is Complex in Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to ask you, have we ever done Bucky O'Hare, or have we just talked about it a lot?
No, we've definitely done a Bucky O'Hare episode. It just has not been released as yet.
Gotcha. Because I feel like Bucky O'Hare just comes up so often that I genuinely forget that we recorded a whole episode about it.
It blurs the lines between Biker Mice and Captain Simeon, I think, at times.
I guess we'd be remiss not to mention that 3 of these 4 cartoons, including this one, featured Jaleel White as Sonic, who I believe is his first canonical voice.
What is Jaleel White famous for? Is he Urkel?
He is Urkel, yes.
Like Urkel.
Like Urkel.
It's what do you think of his performance as Sonic?
I think he's pretty great. I think like there's just something very intuitive about it. Like I could just imagine being a 90s kid and seeing both Family Matters and Sonic on TV and having my mind blown that they're the same guy. I think he captures Sonic's personality pretty well for what was there. He sounds like a cartoon is what's suitable. You know, he has a very capable nasally voice that works really well.
Question from the crowd?
What is it?
I'm worth way more than that.
There he is! Get him! I want that hedgehog!
Whoa! I'm waiting.
Get him! Get him! We got him! We got him!
I'm over there.
It's very fitting. Yeah. I don't know, like, I guess we'll talk about this when we come to Sonic X, but they give him a much more normal voice in that show. And it does kind of work, but I feel like his voice was tailor-made to voice a cartoon hedgehog.
Totally.
It's so, yeah, it's an excellent bit of casting. I can see why they kept bringing him back for every successive show.
Right. It's It's awesome. There was a game recently called Sonic Generations. I say recently, it was like 10 years ago now. But recently enough, it was about the modern Sonic teaming up with like the 2D classic Sonic via time travel, as if this is a younger Sonic. And in that game, Retro Sonic is mute. There was a heavy rumor that Jaleel White was supposed to voice him, but he did have to eventually shut it down himself and say they never reached out to me about such a thing.
Okay, I thought you were going to say there was some sort of massive Jaleel White controversy and they had to cut him from the game. I'm glad that's
Well,
not
he
the
did
case.
he released his own strain of weed called Purple Urkel, and maybe they decided that he was no longer of family values.
Is that a true fact?
Yeah, no, if
You've
you
just
Google
thrown my
Purple
way.
Urkel, it's like there's a promo of him reprising his role of Urkel at the age of like 40, 50, whatever he is now, and smoking weed with Snoop Dogg and just being like, let's break open the Purple Urkel.
Good
Snoop
lord.
Dogg's just like, yeah, Purple Urkel.
Should have been him and Long John Baldry. Let's break open the purple urkel.
That was really good.
Thank you.
I can't roll my tongue, so I couldn't do it, but you like completely. I'll be Purple Urkel. Pass it over here, please.
Very good.
Enough
I mean,
bad.
what a delightful performance though from Long John Baldry, the start of this series.
Oh, completely. I hate that hedgehog.
Like, imagine just going into like the recording booth and just doing 65 episodes of that character and just rattling off all these insane bits of dialogue. And he's animated very weirdly. I read like an interview with someone who animated him saying, I always saw him as a very sexual character or something along those lines. I was like, did you?
Well, there always is a lot of emphasis on his butt, like a lot
Yeah.
of butt humor with Robotnik.
Robotnik.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like I was worried we'd have to like come to blows about different. I feel like no matter what voice Robotnik or Eggman has, it's someone pretty great, and he's usually pretty fun.
Yeah, they never really miscast him. I think Gary Chalk is probably the worst, but he's not bad.
He's not. He has his moments. I think when you're playing off the irritation of dealing with a character like Sonic, it's easy to give yourself a lot of idiosyncrasies and just fun stuff.
Yeah, like he's such a like dealing with someone with that voice who just constantly moves like a lightning speed around you and never shuts up must be such a frustrating experience. And I feel like every one of the Robotnik voice actors gets that across.
The one big Robotnik we did not get to observe because he's in no way in any cartoon was the one in the Dreamcast games, and I call him, he's Eggman at that point, Dean Bristow. I had to look up his name. I call him Eggman Who Kills. He has like a very similar performance to Mike Pollock in the anime and stuff, but he says things like, get ready to die, fox boy, and it's actually pretty fucking menacing.
Is this the one from I don't know if this is a Dreamcast game or not now. I might be misremembering this. Is he like a sort of more slender version? Does he kidnap some sort of princess in some sort of fantasy town?
That is Sonic 06, and we don't talk about that game.
That's the one that I was thinking of, yeah.
No, that's Mike Pollock as well. And Mike Pollock is always awesome. We'll probably talk about him when we get to Sonic X.
I don't hate the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I can't bring myself to dislike it really. I wouldn't want to watch more than one episode of it. I think it gets the point across in that first one.
It'll give you a headache after a while. We also have to touch on Sonic Says, which
oh yeah, the little moral. I find it so bizarre that they use that like noteworthy piece of classical music for a Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. What would be good music? What do the kids like?
I guess it fits like the mischievous tone of a dun 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 dun. Yeah. Is it Nutcracker? Is that what it's from?
I think so. I was trying to remember, but if you can't remember a piece of like classical music, it's very difficult to Google it. So,
Right?
all you can do
Nah,
is go,
man, you're thinking of beat, boop, boop, bop, boop, boop, bop.
yeah, like all you can do is like ring somebody you know and go, hey, what's this from? Da, 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 da. And that, like, neither of us know, so we're not going to answer that question in this episode, I guess.
I think it is Nutcracker because it's the slow dun, 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 dun,
Oh yeah,
dun,
there
dun,
is a
dun,
slower version.
just sped up. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah, Sonic says they give bad advice. Sonic is bad at PSAs.
Robotnik should have given the advice.
Because the one in this one is they're about to be attacked by the robots, and Tails is like, Sonic, it's an emergency, call 911. And since Sonic is competent enough to deal with the robots, he's like, this isn't a real emergency. Save 911 for real problems. But I feel like we're not all as fast and competent as Sonic, so we don't know that. Like, you're teaching children that being attacked by a gang is not an emergency.
Yeah, these. I mean, we only watched the one. I dread to think what the others are.
Oh, some of
Hey
them
kids,
are.
don't eat too many chili dogs like I do. You'll kill yourself.
I kind of wish I sent you a compilation because there are some insane Sonic Says skits. I'm sure you know the famous one about reporting if someone touches you inappropriately.
Not from Sonic. I know there's a He-Man one where they do that.
It's oh man, I know it by heart because everyone on the internet references it. It's Sonic coming on, and you can put the clip over this. It's Sonic coming on and going, kids, there's nothing cooler than being hugged by someone you like. But if someone touches you in a way or a place that makes you uncomfortable, that's no good. There's
Okay,
one about
makes sense.
not climbing into the washing machine.
Oh, I read about this. Yeah. Well, it's a good bit of advice, I guess. It's not wrong.
There's one where it opens with Tails and Sonic approaching a family of sloths. And Tails goes, Sonic, why are these sloths so slow? And Sonic is like, hey, even though the sloths are slow, doesn't mean you can't learn something from them. And a sloth points out that Tails is standing in quicksand, and Sonic closes it out by going, even you can learn something from a sloth.
What about the quicksand?
I have no idea how that's supposed to be applicable to real life. Like, maybe this is me being so blue and morbid, and I'm on the spectrum, so I can say this. Is this like being tolerable of people with like learning disability? I don't.
Oh God, maybe it was.
Like,
oh no,
that was literally because the way Tails like begrudges, they're so slow. I'm like, maybe we could cut. I don't. Or if it's just literally about taking life slowly in a literal sense.
Maybe there was like a sloth backlash in the early 90s.
I'm gonna look at
The Sloth Council paid them off.
Yeah. Sonic explains that everyone has something special to offer, even sloths.
Is that the explanation?
Yes.
Nothing under trivia. Is there nothing under background information? Behind the scenes.
Trivia.
Goofs.
While recording for this episode, Jaleel White's lines for Sonic and John Baldry's lines for Robotnik were recorded at normal speed and slowed down in post-production. Only White's lines were lowered in pitch, however, while only the speed. I guess this is attached to an entire episode where the characters slow down because sloths are present.
Why did they only slow down Jaleel White and not Long John Baldry?
I guess because Long John Baldry's voice is already so deep, maybe they didn't have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's enough about that one.
What a weird show.
Yeah.
What's our next one? Sonic
SatAM, the most beloved and well-regarded of them, because it's probably the best, if we're being real.
I think it's definitely the most solid, and Yeah, I think everyone knows it's the best, don't they? It's
Yeah.
it's the most beloved. It introduces all these colorful characters. You've got a menacing Robotnik. You've got like mythology and lore and flashbacks and a big cliffhanger ending, which was sadly never resolved.
It's got arguably a supporting cast that's not in the games and better than the games.
Do they use any of these supporting cast characters in any of the games? Have they ever been brought back for anything else? I know there's like a comic series that's kind of inspired by this.
Really, just like we never. I don't unless I'm not up to date. Like Sally Acorn and Antoine and Bunny Rabbit and even Snively, you never see them in the games. I think because they are owned by Archie Comics now.
Ah, okay.
And I think they're still in comics to this day, but I think they're not allowed in the games.
I definitely have seen like some comic stuff with Snively in the past few years. So I'm glad they've enjoined in some format because they add a lot to the world, I think. It's much better than just having Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik as like the only 4 people in existence in this world.
Right. Man, where to begin with this one? Yeah, I feel the shame is we watched this pilot that takes itself very slow and honestly not a ton happens in it. But I feel like it sets up the show really well. It has this where there's very dark stakes where characters are very consistently in danger. We see a character get imprisoned and presumably roboticized within this opening crawl.
Yeah.
That cat character. I'd like too that even though it's a more serious show, they don't necessarily take liberties with Sonic himself to make him in any way edgy or less incongruous. He is still an impatient character that characters like Sally still get kind of fed up with, but it adds the character dynamics and the stakes as opposed to just seeming completely out of place.
Yeah, he's not quite the same character he is in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's fairly similar overall. And I think he never turns into like a sort of straight arrow type hero, does he? He's still kind of like annoyingly Sonic, still eating his chili dogs, still cracking jokes, but he takes the situation more seriously.
Completely.
I guess because you've got all that backstory to the character of this, like his uncle being roboticized and trying to rescue him, and then you've got there's like that big 2-part episode in the second season where they flash back to how Robotnik took over the planet, which is a great 2-parter with Tim Curry as the king, I think. Robotnik in a big hat, and even an origin story for how Snively lost his hair. There's a huge amount of lore to this series, which is really interesting.
Of course you'll be there, Julian. Everyone is anxious to meet the man responsible for winning the Great War. You're a hero.
Forgive me, Your Majesty. I just can't...
Nonsense. Tonight I will announce the closing of the War Ministry, then your appointment as Minister of Science. You will attend, Julian. That is a royal order. And your plans for dismantling the military are approved as presented. Get started at once.
Of course, sire. I am honored, sire.
See you tonight.
Snively, ready the palace attack force.
I mean, the standout dynamic of this show, I think, is Robotnik and Snively.
Oh, completely.
They're like Jim Cummings and Charlie Adler just playing off each other very well, and Robotnik just being like genuinely quite terrifying as well.
Oh man, one of Jim Cummings' best performances, if we're being frank, and he always does so good, but he's just lended I think he's lended a perfect design and atmosphere to be truly terrifying at points.
I mean, they give him that like echo I think they drop it after the first episode, but he sounds terrified in that first episode. Snively, what color is my heart? You don't have a heart, sir. Exactly.
There's this tendency to lean very silly with Robotnik and Eggman, I think because he's practically an Elmer Fudd figure dealing with this super fast character. And there's a lot of room for comedy with his over the top reactions and irritation, but they play him completely straight here. You'd think that might be kind of tough, but because the premise of the show is that he's basically already won, it lends this gravitas that is just like peerless. It is excellent.
Yeah, he has like some comedy moments, like when you get towards season 2, maybe he starts to fall maybe into more classic Robotnik hijinks. But for the most part, yeah, he's played very straight in this. It's the most serious, terrifying Robotnik I think we ever have.
A great touch I wish the games used more is this little robotic bird. I think that's awesome.
Cluck.
Cluck, yeah. I think it's wonderful. It's good. It's very, very good.
What is it, Snively? I'm busy. Try it now, Cluck. Now, Snively.
He's gone, sir.
Who is gone?
The hedgehog, sir.
The hedgehog? Where?
Near the Badlands, sir. He was with the princess and Bunny Rabbit.
Order code red alert.
Yes, sir. There's another problem, sir. The main generator.
Either way, we got a good overview of the series, I think. And
we have good enough concepts of the show itself that it's all right. I think we're talking about the show as very much in a vacuum as opposed to giving like a critical view on the episode itself.
Yeah. This is the only one where I can, with all honesty, say that I've seen every episode of the show.
Totally. And I wanted to say about like characters like Bunny Rabbit is that world building is so good how they detailed a character who is halfway roboticized. And I just think all the implications and world building of that and the fact that Bunny is still a good guy but has this like battle scar of a robotic arm is so cool. I think that is awesome. Yeah,
they really get across considering like the Robotnik is always making robot stuff. This one and maybe a bit in Sonic Underground, but not much. Like this is the one that gets across the fact that roboticization is a horrible process and it's not something you want to happen to you. Like in that flashback episode, Robotnik gets his arm partially roboticized. And it's implied that it was like a horrendously painful experience for him. So I guess
love it.
That's what he's been doing to all these creatures. So it's
great in the
stakes.
And in the games, sorry, you go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just went stakes, and that was the end of my point.
I was gonna say, and in the games, you're like breaking open the robots, and little animals just like fly out because he's using the animals to power them. In this one's like, no, it's death. You know, like you lose your autonomy and personality and basically life to become one of many robot drones. It's not and there's a good chance when Sonic breaks through robots, it's just good guys that's too late for.
Yeah. They save his uncle at some point, don't they? That is a plot of a later episode.
Like he's the one with the big metal mustache, I think. I
don't think he gets de-roboticized, but he gets his mind back.
Yeah. There's rehab. They can be rehabilitated.
Yeah. Very good show.
I like that. I like that Sonic's catchphrase is all the juice. It's juice and jam time.
The juice is loose.
The juice is loose. Was this pre or post OJ murder?
I think it was pre.
Thank God.
Oh, thank God, we're safe. Too soon.
You're gonna need a Robert Kardashian to get you out of this one, Robotnik.
So on that bombshell, let's move on to Sonic Underground.
Well, don't celebrate too soon, Hedgehog. Now it's my turn.